Hey, everybody. Excited to talk to you guys. That means football's right around the corner. I know I haven't talked to you guys since the Grey Cup, so I'm glad we were able to kind of get this done.
Perfect. Merci, Cody. We'll start with Herb Zukowski. Herb, I think your mic is you're muted.
There. Cody. Are you getting like echoes on your end?
Yeah, there is echoes on my end. I see two of you, Herb.
Yeah, there's two Herb Zukowski. Maybe delete one, Herb.
As much as I like Herb, one is enough.
Yeah. You're still muted, Herb.
Bravo, Fred, pour celle-là.
Herb, you're still muted?
How about now? I don't know if I'm going to be able to make out anything that you're saying, Cody, okay. But what the hell? Here we go.
Go ahead. I deleted one. So you're good. Good to go.
Okay, thank you. Look, things have changed drastically from a year ago. How are you feeling going into this season? Not much, we didn't know much about you last year. We know what you were coming off in Saskatchewan. The expectations, the pressure are going to be much, much higher this season on you and on this team as the defending champions. How do you think everybody's going to react to that? And how do you like the team, what Danny has done with the team over the winter?
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, what a crazy 365 days make. Because sitting in this spot last year, like you said, I was just trying to prove myself in this league, trying to prove myself to a new team. But what I'm really excited about, what Danny has done with this team, is he's retained the core guys, which is very hard to do. And you've seen Winnipeg do it over the years. And I think that's why they've been so successful. But you look at a 16-2 Argos team that seemed to be a mass exodus for them. The unfortunate thing about winning games and winning Grey Cups that I've seen in the past is you usually lose a lot of players. Now, we lost a couple good football players, obviously, to the NFL. But what Danny has done was we didn't lose a ton of guys to other teams in the CFL. So we didn't help bolster other CFL teams' roster, and we kept the core guys. And what I'm excited about is, what I thought we lacked in talent, we made up for in team camaraderie. And the fact that we're able to hit that from day one of training camp, of just having a locker room that is so cohesive and together, will help us be able to kind of fine tune our talents on the field. Now we're really excited, I think, to now go from the hunters to the hunted. Now with the bullseye on our back, it's a little bit different. As you said, the expectation's a little bit higher, and people are going to have probably a little bit shorter leashes or patience for us if things don't start out the way that they finished last year. But what I will say is the amount of buzz, the amount of excitement that's going on in Montreal and the province of Quebec is what this team is really excited about. And, it's unfortunate we're going to have to wait 2 weeks before we get our first home game. But I know that first home game and the banner reveal and all that entails in that is going to be something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And, when I won a Grey Cup in 2017 with the Argos, I signed with the BC Lions the next year. So I didn't really get to go through an off season and then a start of a season with the ring ceremony and the banner reveal and all the excitement that goes into winning the Grey Cup before. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to most in the early half of the season.
Geez, I wish we could get a word or two out of you, Cody. One other question. Look, no Austin Mack and no William Stanback. So what do you think about those departures and what? Obviously, you have Fletcher coming back and Tevin Jones, who's going to have to replace Mack. Do you think, and the defense is pretty much intact, do you think this team is stronger heading into the season than it was last November?
Austin Mack is a guy you just can't replace. And he's somebody that when we signed him, nobody knew who he was. He was a 4-string guy, and all of a sudden he lights the league on fire, and he's in the NFL for a reason. But I think that's what Danny's hoping for as well. We've signed some really talented guys that he believes, and we've had conversations about. And he found a way to turn our very young receiving core that everyone had questions going into the year into one of the best receiving cores in the CFL by the end of the year. So obviously losing Austin Mack is huge. Stanback is one of those guys that's been a staple for the Montreal Alouettes. He has been, one of the constant consistents in a program that has kind of seen its ebbs and flows. So it was unfortunate, when I reached out to him after he signed with the BC Lions, we had a great conversation. And one of the big reasons why I signed with the Alouettes was because of him. We had a great conversation in free agency leading up to it. And I'm just excited for him to continue to play ball. He's got a lot of good ball left in him, but Fletcher is a guy that is more than capable to take on a running back one position. Jeshuan Antwi is another guy that's played significant snaps. And if you look back in the Grey Cup, he was in there at the end, picking up a huge block for us when they were bringing all out pressure. The week prior, he scored a touchdown in the East Final. So a guy that's played meaningful football, right? So we have two really talented running backs with a lot of experience. And I think I'm really excited about our young rookies that we signed as well, to see how that position takes shape in training camp.
Great. Thank you, Cody. We can actually make out more or less what you're saying.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Herb.
Merci, Cody. We'll go with Dan Ralph. Dan, you're muted.
Nice try, Herb. Cody, when did it sink into you this offseason about the Grey Cup and the way 2023 ended for you?
I honestly don't think it ever sank in. That's a great question. Me and my wife always, we'll see a highlight here or there, and we'll just be like, we won the Grey Cup. It's kind of one of those surreal things that your whole career as a starting quarterback, you just want to win a Grey Cup. You just want to win a Grey Cup. And then you win the Grey Cup and you're like, wow, did that just happen? One of those things. So my main goal this offseason has been focusing on consistency, trying to limit turnovers, trying to limit areas where I put the team in bad situations. But the most important thing going into the 2024 season for me is if you want to be talked amongst the elite quarterbacks, obviously you have to win a Grey Cup first, which we did last year, but you have to show that consistency year in and year out. And so that's my main focus going into this 2024 season, is show that consistency to my team, to my coaches, to the people in the league, that I'm here and not a one-hit wonder and, they got lucky last year, right? One of those things. So I'm excited about the opportunity we have ahead of us. I'm excited about the roster that Danny and Coach Moss have been able to retain, and also the young guys that they picked up, and just see things take shape. And talking with you guys gets me excited because, it becomes around January, February, you're kind of like, let's get to football again. Now hitting March and knowing April's coming around the corner. And then sure enough, first week of May, we'll be back up there. So just excited to be talking about football and the opportunity we have ahead of us.
And last, if I may, you talked about that consistency. How much easier is that to attain going into the same system with the same people in the second year as opposed to trying to do it with a different team?
Absolutely huge. If you look at our offense, and not even talking about our defense, but our locker room as a whole, we have a ton of guys that were retained and guys I'm familiar with. But offensively, we returned 4 of our 5 receiving starters. Everybody on the offensive line is set to return. We lost Stanback, but Fletcher is a guy that I shared time in the backfield with, as well as Jeshuan. So we have a lot of carryover. And so, last year, as a leader and wanting to be a leader on this team, I was more of I'm going to show you first because I didn't know very many guys. I'm going to show you first, just watch how I work, gain your respect, and then I'll maybe be a little bit more vocal. And so I think going into this year, it'll allow me to have a little bit deeper conversations with guys, to have that kind of just more of a connection, more of a relationship, where you can get on guys a little bit more. You can tell them, hey, you're not giving me enough, or hey, you're doing a great job, right? And having that fine balance. But I think it really is beneficial for a team in the CFL that is so based on one-year contracts to retain a lot of guys coming off a Grey Cup year. I hope, and I've seen it, and I hope it carries over to us. I hope that carries over to early wins for us because we have to keep the momentum going. We start out with a couple wins early on, then that momentum picks up and guys start believing again. But I think our confidence is at an all-time high right now, coming off of what we did last year. I think guys are excited about the opportunity of just going out and defending the Grey Cup. There's 9 teams in this league, and it's very hard to repeat, but I think our goal is set on repeating, and I believe that this team has the opportunity to do that.
Terrific. Thank you.
Merci, Cody. On va continuer avec Éric Leblanc d'RDS et ensuite Nicolas Richard de la presse.
Hey, hello, Cody. I'd like to know more about your off season. I'm pretty sure you've met like thousands of people, wanting to talk about that championship. And was there maybe like one discussion that you had that was maybe more special for you, maybe with a kid, with a fan, someone close in your family?
Yeah, it's funny. I just went down to Southern California with me and my wife went down. My brother got Teacher of the Year in Orange County. So we were there to celebrate him. And there was a big ceremony with a lot of people from my high school, and just the amount of people that watched the game, the amount of people that have supported me. We were sitting at the dinner table with my family, and everybody was just talking about the Grey Cup and how exciting it was, and just reminiscing because I haven't seen him since the Grey Cup, and that was my first opportunity to see him. And there to celebrate my brother, and all he wants to talk about is the Grey Cup, and it just was a monumental thing in the Fajardo family. And 2023 was a great year for us, with my brother winning Teacher of the Year and obviously winning the Grey Cup. And so it'll be hard to top that in 2024, but that's the expectation, is to win a Grey Cup every year. I also train quarterbacks here locally in Reno, Nevada, and so the amount of guys that I've trained who have watched me hoist that Grey Cup over my head, and it kind of helps validate my coaching a little bit. They listen a little bit more now that I have that Grey Cup champion. They watched me on national television win a Grey Cup, and so it's a little bit easier to coach, so I'm very thankful for that. But it's been exciting times all the way out. But I will say this: once January 1st hit, Laura and I talked, and we're like, well, 2023 is in the past, now it's 2024. Let's focus on that. You can't kind of relish on your laurels, and you got to continue to move on. And we're excited about 2024, and signing an extension was huge for me and my family, just to know that where we're going to be at for the next 2 years, when there was so much uncertainty 365 days ago. But the excitement is high, the confidence is high, and we want to defend that cup.
Thank you.
On va y aller avec Nicolas Richard, Jérémy Filosa, ensuite Philippe Asselin et Frédéric Daigle.
Hi, Cody. When we talked to Danny a few weeks ago, he looked very, very happy to have a deal with Tevin Jones. Why is this guy so special?
Man, Tevin Jones is one of the guys that I kind of connected with really quickly in Sask, and he was a rookie when he came in. The things he did last year was very impressive. Everyone wants to talk about his age being 31, but that guy can fly. He is a team-first guy. The one thing I know about Tevin is he is probably one of the best special teams receivers I've ever been around. The guy is all in for the team, and he's one of those guys that, and I think this separated our receiving corps from a lot of receiving corps in the CFL, is when he's not getting the ball, he's not begging for the ball or asking for the ball. He is out there blocking. He is out there doing whatever he can to help the team win, and not saying, hey, you should have thrown it to me here. You should have done this there. And so when you have receivers like that as a quarterback, it helps you play a little bit better. But I will say this, he is probably one of the most competitive guys I've ever been around. That guy will compete in anything. So he'll fit great into our locker room, where Moss kind of implements that competitive nature. But it could be us eating pizza, and he's simply going to try and out-eat pizza. And that just goes to show of his character and who he is as a competitor. And he's got a lot of gas in the tank. And what I'm excited about is, as I kind of shared with you, we retained 4 of our 5 starting receivers. And then we add Tevin Jones, who I have experience with. So in my mind, it's basically having 5 starting receivers back, because the relationships are there, as opposed to last year. Training camp wasn't as clean as I thought, but that's because we were all getting to know each other. So this year we should be able to hit the ground running. I know Coach Moss, we've had a couple conversations, and I told him, look, just because we have a lot of retaining guys doesn't mean we have to go crazy with the playbook. We got to start out a little bit simple, and you know how that guy's mind works. So I'm just excited about hitting the ground running with this offensive unit, and then going against our defensive unit, who is the best defense in the CFL last year. And I think that's what helped this young offensive core grow up so fast, is because we had to face them every single day and we had to compete against them every single day. And if we didn't perform to our standard, they were going to let us know about it. Guys like Sankey, guys like Lemon. And so the only way to shut those guys up in the locker room was to perform well in practice. And so we're looking forward to getting better in training camp against a really good unit, and then go and use that momentum into the season.
Merci, Cody. On va y aller avec Jérémy Filosa.
Hey, Cody. Hope you're doing well. I hope you hear me correctly.
Yep, I got you.
Okay, very cool. Thank you for taking the time, obviously. You talked a little bit earlier about, you not wanting this to be, a one-and-done season. The fact that you guys were such an underdog and a Cinderella story last year, do you feel like it's important for you guys to come out strong this year and be, once again, a force to be reckoned with in order for you guys to be remembered down the line as, a group of players that was able to put something together for many years and not just, a one-off?
I definitely do. I think it's very important, not only for us players and coaches, but also for the fan base. We want our fans behind us. And at the end of the year, they were behind us all the way. And the way that the stadium was packed with fans, it was really cool to see the buzz. And, once I grew that mustache, I probably got recognized way more than I did before. But I think that was more to the fact that we were winning football games and there was just this buzz around the city of Montreal. But I will say this, having this team retained mostly, we lost 4 straight and didn't really bat an eye against it. So if things don't start the way we expect, I know that this team can crawl out of a hole and we'll have confidence doing it. And when things are all collapsing around us and people are telling us we're no good, this team knows how to handle that. So I think that's going to be familiar territory if things don't happen to start on the right foot. Now, if things happen on the right foot, it might be a little bit different. People giving us our flowers, so many people sent me the CFL way too early power rankings and they had us at first, right? And so people are giving us our flowers now. And honestly, I don't think this team wants it. This team wants something to continue to prove. And what that is you hit it right on the nose, is we don't want to be a one-hit wonder. We don't want to be a team where it's like, oh, they just got lucky. They got hot at the right time. This is a very talented team that knows how to play together and is a force. So any team that is playing against us, whether home or away, we want them to know that they're going to be in for a dogfight, 4 quarters, and that this team is going to give it everything they got for 4 quarters, 18 games straight.
Thank you.
Merci. On va y aller avec Philippe Asselin, suivi de Frédéric Daigle.
Hey, Cody, you answered my question about the too early power ranking. So a quick one for me. When did Danny ask you your opinion about Jones before signing him?
Yeah, Danny and I have had conversations about a lot of guys, and some guys signed, some guys didn't sign, and it just speaks to who Danny is as a GM. He wants to know what his players feel, and the first thing he asks me usually when he talks about these players is nothing to deal with their talent, and it's all to deal with them as a person. He wants to make sure that they fit into our locker room, and it's rare that you get general managers that seek that first. As opposed to asking about, their talent. And so it just goes to speak to what they're trying to build in Montreal, and that what we're trying to get in that cohesiveness of a group, and don't want to have a bad apple in there. So that was the first thing he asked me about. And then I talked obviously about him as a person, and he's like, you know what, I don't even have to ask you about the football play. That's all I needed to know, because a lot of times you can see how talented a guy is on tape. It's very difficult to see what kind of person they are. And so I know Sean Lemon's been big on a couple of our signees as well on the defensive line, which I'm really excited about as well. But Danny is not afraid to ask someone's opinion, and that goes to show how confident he is in his resources and his recruiting, but also how his relationships has built with a guy like me who has only been around him for a year, and how comfortable he's gotten around me and how much he takes my opinion to the bank.
Merci.
On va y aller avec Frédéric Daigle. Merci, Philippe.
Hey, Cody, thanks for taking the time today.
Absolutely.
I know the CFL playoffs are in very long, but did you have to change something with the shorter break? I mean, playoffs lasted almost a month, and then the festivities, the parade, and I'm supposing some family vacation and time off after that. So did you have to change something in your training regimen this winter?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's funny because I had the two extremes from back-to-back years. So my first year as a starter in 2019, I made the playoffs every year until that 2020 year. So my season ended way earlier than I expected. And then the year following, we go to the Grey Cup and the parade and everything. So it got extended. So the one thing I'll say is usually I take about a month off of training, whether we make the playoffs or didn't make the playoffs. But this year I was only able to take about 2 weeks off because in the back of my mind, all those teams that didn't make the Grey Cup were already ahead of schedule, right? They were already working out. And I felt like that was my driving motivation to take those 2 weeks off. And fortunately for me, this was one of the years where I was a little bit banged up during the season, but by the end of it, I had a couple of lingering things, but nothing serious. Years prior, I've dealt with knee issues or my oblique issues where things I had to really give myself time to recover. So I was very thankful of my health, being able to only take those 2 weeks off and then kind of hit the ground running. And so I feel like I'm on schedule to where I need to be at this point, which I'm really excited about. And it was my first Grey Cup as a starting quarterback and dealing with all that. So this is my first off season winning a Grey Cup as a starting quarterback and kind of going through that and navigating my workout regimen based off of that. But I feel really confident that I'm doing the right thing and I'm at the spot where I need to be. We just got pounded with a bunch of snow here, so kind of slowed my throwing. Usually I don't start throwing until March, which is about now. So it's going to slow me down a little bit there, and there's nothing I can do about the weather. But I think in terms of my weightlifting, my physical running and being in shape, I'm right where I need to be, and that's exciting for me.
Is there? Do you remember when was the last time that maybe you were piloting a team with the target on its back and that you were the team to beat? And how did it go, if you remember?
Yeah, that's a great question. In college, there's a couple times when we had some good years, but I will say, 2019, we had a really good season. I had a good season myself. And then we had the pandemic. And so we kind of had that a little bit of a target on our back, but then the pandemic took it away. So this is a little bit of uncharted waters, especially winning a Grey Cup and going into a season where all eyes are going to be on us. And that's an exciting thing because there's a lot of guys on this roster that deserve the praise, that deserve the recognition that they didn't get throughout the season last year. And so they have the opportunity from week one, just from the jump to start out doing the right thing. And, I think about a guy like Stubblefield, who was an all-star, had an all-star resume, but missed a significant amount of games and wasn't able to get that all-star. And so now he has that chance week one, right? And so there's many guys like that on our roster that will have that opportunity. And I think that's what's got guys excited, is now people will be talking positively about the Montreal Alouettes as opposed to last year going into week one when everybody was speaking so negatively and had so many question marks.
Yeah, well, last one, if I may, are the rumors true that you now have a Shohei Ohtani voodoo doll at home and that you're trying to annoy him as much as you can?
The saddest part about it is I would have been okay with him going just about any team but the Dodgers. And so now I'm going to have to watch the Angels go against him all the time on that freeway series. And it's been a really tough offseason as an Angels baseball fan. If they can sign Blake Snell, I think I might be a little bit happier. But there's still a lot of question marks on that team. And so maybe they rank, the Angels dead last, and they might get a good speech from Mike Trout, and they win the World Series. That's my hope.
All right, thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Any other question? D'autres questions? No, we're good.
Hey,
thank you, Cody.
Cody, tell Tevin Jones I'll challenge him to a pizza eating contest anytime, and my challenge to you on the pickleball court remains intact.
I told you, Herb, when I'm up there, you better be ready. I'm
ready, it easy pal. On you. I was born ready.
I like that. Hey, Tevin's he sends me pickleball stuff all the time, so he's going to fit right in. So I might have to bring him along as well. Then we can get pizza after.
Yes, absolutely. The pizza is after. But thanks again for doing this.
No problem. Thanks, Herb.
Thank you, Cody. Thank you, everyone. Merci à tous d'être venus sur l'appel. On se revoit bientôt. Merci. Bonne journée. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Great talking about football. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.